Now with me in the studio are Professor Anthony Kila, Professor of Strategy and Development and Institute Director at the Center for International Advanced and Professional Studies, CIAPS. Mr. Jide Ologun is also here, legal practitioner, National Development Advocate and Fellow, Institute of Leadership Coaching and Strategy. And Yemi Adamolekun, Executive Director, Enough is Enough. Well, good to have you. And Yemi, good to see you.
Thank you.
After what looks like such a long time. You're welcome. Well, very quickly, we've had two guests. First, Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, principally on the statement he made about IPOB and Eastern Security Network and the reaction of the IPOB, speaking through Emma Powerful, challenging him to come and provide evidence that indeed 13,000 people have been killed and that businesses have been disrupted in the eastern part. And they, had a lot of allegations against him, which he responded to, saying he's not the sponsor or co-sponsor of any group. We discussed national security issues. He was part of a mission to Cameroon and just returned from there. We discussed the ambassadorial list, and particularly the inclusion of his daughter as one of the nominees, Naya Kalu. And I told him that we hear that the lady is going to reject the appointment. He says, well, he doesn't know about that, that his daughter is an adult who can make up her own mind. And then, of course, we talked about Southeast development process. We talked about politics in Abia State. We talked about his relationship with the president, that people say he's trying to curry favor from the president so as to be seen to be his strongest ally in Abia State, and a number of other issues about national unity, which he commented upon, and, his charge to Indigbo to work within Nigeria to build this country. And then, of course, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was part of the conversation. And then I had a sit-down with the industrialist and philanthropist, the chairman, founder of Donye Group, who turned 90 on December 4. About his experience, about his business, about lessons, about his advice for the younger generation, his commentary on productivity and, business generally. He, being known as, of course, the Prince of Commerce, and who has been in business for decades. And also about the younger generation, the nouveau riche, and all of that. So those were the two major interviews we had. I'm sure you watched both. But let me start this time around with you, Mr. Jide Ologun.
Thank you very much. I listened to Senator Kalu, and of course he expressed his own position and challenged Emma Powerful to come up with his own. And he made some salient points, for instance, that he was very close to General Juku himself, who concluded that perhaps the first agitation for Biafra was sensible, but that the next one isn't necessary. And I also agree that that agitation has introduced a lot of violence and that it could have been better synchronized to channel the interests of the people, legitimately so. And what I personally also monitored was that perhaps when it started, there were a lot of people mobilizing after Kanu, but towards the tail end of the trial, that fizzled away. And right now, a decision has been made, and then some stakeholders in the southeastern part of the country are trying to see what political resolution can be brought to it. And he also mentioned that it's about time that the Igbos should position themselves within the nation and work together with the people. Then on his comment about whether he will allow, their generation will allow the younger ones to step into politics, I also appreciate that. I also challenged a senator when we had a program in Unilag, and he told me they were not in a hurry to quit the stage, that power is not served a la carte, that the younger ones also should come on board and learn. And Senator Kalu mentioned something that excited me. The fact that when summits are held, do we implement the resolutions. It's quite important. Is the interest of the people the main reasons for all these resolutions. And he spoke extensively and not denying his support for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But we just hope that at the stage we are right now, attention will also shift to the interest of the generality of the citizens in Nigeria. And congratulations to the Prince of Commerce. It's not easy to be 90 and be that articulate. I enjoyed every bit of that conversation. That is a celebration of resilience, of vision, and of course, giving back to the society. And basically, a huge lesson in not trying to force his children in a particular line of entrepreneurship. But for those who are interested, they are welcome on board when you requested to know about the future of the Doing Group. And it's a business concern that has been around. And I also appreciate the fact that he's been keenly monitoring the progress in the economic environment of the country, and we hope that is sustained with other efforts to stabilize the security in the land so that the New Hope agenda can really deliver the expected results to the people. And on that note, I want to say congratulations to
Mr. Ologun. Just before I come to you, Opeyemi, I understand Professor Awurawo is around, so we'll take this short break to allow Professor Awurawo to join us, and then we'll continue from there. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to This Day Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. Now with us is Professor David Awurawo. Thank you very much. You're welcome, Prof, for joining us. Before you came, we were reviewing the two interviews we had. First with Senator Orji Kalu, and second with Prince Samuel Adedoyin, who is celebrating life at 90.
I listened to both. So.
Oh, okay, certainly. But let me go to Yemi Adamolekun.
Thank you. Senator Kalu's, I guess I'll speak on a few things that he said. One, I like the point he made about the impact of Biafra, that I think the way he said it is, who are you going to lead when you've destroyed businesses in the East and and people have lost their lives, and what is the end of that? And that if there's really an interest in secession, why not spend time in negotiating? And I think what struck me in that is the notion of the possibility of a referendum. A referendum is one of the proposed constitutional amendments. And I think it would have gone a long way if that was seen to be something that was advocated as a way to have the conversation around, do we want to stay together or go separate ways, as a point of agitating for a separate space. Then he talked about age and politics, and I didn't quite understand the point he was trying to make, to be honest. You said he had the question about Cameroon. He said the president there is 90, and he said it as if there's no problem with the fact that the Cameroonian president was 90. There is a huge problem with the fact that the president there is 90. He's non-communicative. He's not present. He's not doing anything for his people. And I was very disappointed, quite bluntly, that he was very dismissive of the fact that their age and politics, it does matter. Your ability to serve your people, your ability to give back, your ability to engage, to participate in a debate, to have a conversation, to provide leadership is directly proportional to not only your age, but the functionality of your brain and your members. And then lastly, the ambassadorial list. Again, another thing I was disappointed in his flippant response to that, in saying the president has a prerogative to nominate anybody. Yes, the president does have a prerogative to nominate ambassadors, but they really should not be anybody because they are representing Nigeria, the country, and Nigerians as a whole. So representing people who do not put Nigeria and Nigerians in the best light possible is a disservice to Nigerians. Yes, they can get to Senate and Senate can decide who they approve and who they don't. But given the track record of this Senate, nobody has any hope that they're going to send anybody back. But I think more importantly than the Senate is what it says about Mr. President in the caliber of people that he chooses to nominate to represent Nigeria, especially at this time. And I think also in the context of the fact that Nigerians' foreign policy is not very well defined. So you are nominating ambassadors to do what exactly? And what is the agenda that they're going to propagate where they go? And I think, and then lastly on Chief Adedoyin, I think it's really quite a blessing. I think when people pray, you pray that you age in good health and soundness of mind. And Prince Adedoyin very much represents that. Good health, soundness of mind, being very present, very involved, very engaged, very interested. And I like what he says. He says, if you don't use an engine, i.e. your brain, it will not work. But I think also the part is recognizing that it's not really just about if you don't use it. Also recognizing the role that God has played in his life. Because he is a blessed man. It's not just there are people who want to use their brain but are not able to for a variety of reasons. And I like the fact that he did recognize the role God has played in his life. My father is also a huge fan of pounded yam, so and younger than Chief Adedoyin, but I'll tell him that he can still look for. Actually, well, he continues to, because his own mother ate pounded yam till she died at almost 100. So Prince Adedoyin also provides a good example of what pounded yam can do for you. Thank you,
Professor Kila. I think you know people from that area, they don't joke with pounded yam.
I think I was listening to the interview of Senator Kalu, and I was trying to pinch myself to see if I am biased against him for some reason. But I have no personal reason to be biased, because although he said some salient things, he came across to me as really démodé, as if he spent a lot of words to say very little, and the points he made were not very sharp. It's very sad because I suspect he likes to see himself as very deep and a big leader. But if he hasn't got anybody to tell him, let me tell him that he doesn't come across that way. Maybe deep down he is, but in terms of perception. Because up to now, it is not clear to me what his position is. If the people who want secession have a right to it or not. He talks about the fact that it was necessary in the past, probably not necessary today. He has not made the point very clear. He's a senator. If he believes that the instrument of referendum should be available for self-determination, then he should raise that law in Parliament to make it possible. I think it is important for us not to allow people who are charged and paid to act. We shouldn't allow them to pontificate. That should be left to those who haven't got that role. And I think it is sad that he's doing that. You threw some hard evidence at him, albeit, in a very moderate way, but he couldn't even deal with that. How dare he say, very vaguely to whom, that he did not have the conversation with his daughter about the nomination. I mean, I find that a bit offensive to viewers. Those are the kind of responses that they used to give in the days where something happened on Monday and it's reported on Wednesday, not these days when people sort of shoot themselves when they post it on social media themselves, or other people post it for them. So that's a bit sad. The other thing, I like the fact that he said, those who accuse me of something should come and prove it. Yeah, that's a strong way to go about it. God help him if that one comes with some kind of proof. And if that one hasn't got proof, then he has a huge problem there. I think it is true that there is no clear leader in the Southeast. There is no clear leader in many of the states. And I think at the moment, the governor of Imo State is the one that is being most decorated and others and getting more attention for reasons known to those who are giving the attention to them. Prince Adedoyin is a clear blessing to himself, to his family, to his company, and an inspiration to many other people. And I think I want to congratulate you and the whole of the Rise TV for giving space for that kind of interview. If we want to help ourselves in this country, it is time we start giving space more to people who actually produce job and wealth and whose life can serve as inspiration to others in a good way. He talks about being meticulous, being programmed, and his life is evidence of that. He's not just saying it. You can see he's a proof. I'm a bit sad because I doubt it is truly possible again. I mean, it's a true story of, from nothing to a lot. I doubt if those stories are possible again, the way the world is structured now. You live from, contrary to what we think, with all the social mobility, we live from a very structured environment to serendipity. He went to schools where if he was going to school today now, he'll be going to the school of the 1%ers where they pay millions to be educated. And that is a sorry state of the nation. But, congratulations to him and congratulations to you and Arise for giving us that taste of goodness.
Professor Awora.
Yeah, I'll begin with Dr. Orji Kalu, or Senator Orji Kalu. First, he needs to be congratulated for surviving jail. It's not something to pontificate about. The issue that kept him out of jail was technicalities. The judge had been promoted to a higher level, and he shouldn't have continued the case. So, I mean, when he appealed, they said, well, yeah, the court ab initio, the judge shouldn't have continued. So the substance of the case itself was not dealt with. So at some point, the government wanted to revive the case fresh. And if they had continued, we don't know what the outcome will have been. But we will have to congratulate him for being able to survive. He literally came from the shadow of the valley of the shadow of death. So it's not something to pontificate. I congratulate him. Not many survive in that way, I also congratulate him for his daughter. The lady is 34 years. So I'm sure she's the youngest of those who are recommended. There is this question of whether she will reject it. She will not reject it. These things are not...
You have information in
these things are not God by chance. I know how these things go. They are not God by chance. So for her name to be there, she will have... If she didn't want it, her name would not be there. She would have told her dad and the name would not have. So the issue of whether she will reject it does not... My only advice... I know she doesn't have the experience. She is a lawyer. She's been to, making nails and,
making nails.
paint all those people, makeup artists and all the rest. Before she became, her dad made her chairperson of the Sun and other businesses. So she has some experience in the board, but not in diplomacy. I would advise her to learn fast. I advise her to also learn from the experience of young people who started and wanted to be on the fast lane, and then they crashed. So she should just learn. She should accept the fact that she doesn't know much. Learn and then do well. She has a whole lot of things, for the future for her. If she does well with this approach, she will take it. The issue of taking it does not taking it.
She's not going to be pulling a debt on you if she's going to take it or
she
not.
will. Look, I know how these things go.
What are the odds?
My friend, Professor Shinyong just died. He was the chairperson the chairman of governing council. When that position was being pursued, I was also a member of the governing council of the Polytechnic. That was my last conversation. I told him, why are you sitting there in Lagos? When so much is happening in Abuja, you better come here fast before everything disappears. So I know how these things go. They don't come by chance. So I congratulate her. I'm advising her to do well, be honest, be perceptive, bring her experience as a legal person and the board to bear.
Invested in her,
Yeah, because many young people have come. Where is Betty here? But many people are even saying that when we say the younger generation come and take over, those we gave opportunity, they didn't perform. That's one particular.
That's not a fair general statement.
Yes, but
just as well that there are some men that are crooks and some women that are crooks.
Exactly so. But the younger people were supposed to be different.
How? Why? Are we not? Do you not have how?
We were supposed to be different. We were supposed to show the way to.
You can see yourself among the younger people.
It's a fault. Well, he's not 70. He's under 70. Anyway, he's too young.
I'm not even 60. So
exactly.
I congratulate her. I will hope she will do well. And then the other thing that Dr. Orji Kalu mentioned, the Nnamdi Kanu issue. I personally don't think that the young man should have been jailed. The issues are more political. But what I was thinking the government would do was to invite him. I also didn't support those who said he should be released just like that. No, people have died. There is violence in the Southeast. Violence almost unprecedented. Only during the civil war did they have violence, the kind of violence they have today. So what I was thinking was that they will invite him and say, look, there is violence in the Southeast, people are suffering. What are your ideas regarding how this violence will stop if you are released? So that there could be, exchange of ideas regarding how to resolve the crisis in the Southeast. Not sending him to jail. But I'm sure at some point, that conversation will go on because the problem has to be solved one way or the other. And I'm not sure he will also be left in jail for, so
The case's been appealed anyway.
anyway. So then Pa Adedoyin, I congratulate him. My mom is older. My mom is 93. My mom was born in 1932. Yes. She's older, and they share almost the same philosophy. Working honestly, working hard, being kind to people and all that, which is good. My mom doesn't eat much of pounded, and she eats a lot of starch. And these are actually starchy foods. I'm wondering how we are linking starchy foods with longevity. Usually, starchy foods are supposed to be detrimental to anyway.
They reduce the
quantity, but still, exactly.
So instead of every anyway.
Yeah, I congratulate him. It's not easy to hit 90. In fact, when you look around the country, apart from Tankoya Kasai, who celebrated 100 recently. Very few of them are in their 90s, Shoyinka, Emeka Anyango, and a few others. So I congratulate him. But there's a point I want to address regarding how he has moved on. And that is that, in the 60s, 70s, even up to the 80s, we had the Adedoyins, the Odutolas, the Badamosis. Our government spends a lot of money going out to go and bring, investment from the outside. The ones here, apart from Gandangote and a few others, they've simply, fizzled out. So that's something I would recommend to government. How can we develop, local entrepreneurs? How can we encourage them? They actually will do better. They will contribute more. The people come from outside are looking for how to repatriate, the resources not within here. But the ones here, they have nowhere to repatriate to, so the resources remain here. That is one thing I want government to, to pay attention to. And to Professor Kila's comments regarding being from nothing to where he is, people can still do that. It's a matter of innovation. These days, much of what people moving this very rapidly like that is a matter of innovation, especially if you are in the tech sector. There are some young people in the tech sector. If you see where they were 5-6 years ago and where they are now, it's so dramatic. And that's what we recommend to our young people, that innovative spirit. I know that Senator Abiru has some facilities he has put in place in his, that's Lagos East, where people are into tech. That is what I would recommend to others. That's the way to, help these young people to develop.
Like that,
exactly. You just see 3-4 people, as if just out of nowhere to everything in just a few years, depending on their capacity for innovation. All of these things we recommend. Well, I congratulate Pa Adedoyin.
Okay, thank you very much, and good to have you. Quickly, let's discuss Republic of Benin. Now, Benin's government says it is moving to crush an attempted military takeover after a group of armed soldiers appeared on state television claiming to have seized power. They claim to have suspended the constitution and shut the country's borders. Foreign Minister Olusegun Ajadi Bakari said only a small group of soldiers was involved and insisted forces loyal to President Patrice Talon remain firmly in control, adding that the rebels briefly held the state broadcaster before the signal was cut. Gunfire was reported in parts of Cotonou, including near the president's residence, as residents were urged to stay indoors by foreign missions. The attempted coup comes just months before Benin's April presidential election, which is expected to usher in a rare transition after Talon's 2 terms in office. Well, just next door in Republic of Benin, a coup scare, but mercifully, it's been foiled, and the president were told is safe, and the loyal forces are in control in that country. But that's a bit too close. Coming 1 week after the coup in Guinea-Bissau, and then you have all these countries in Africa, Madagascar, Niger, Chad, Mali, Burkina Faso, all expressing this democratic retreat. Professor Kila, let me start from this end this time.
Well, I think it's a warning. I think we have to take this warning seriously. There's something that says the dead that kill one's peer. Is sending a message to one. And all democratic governments in Africa and across the world should take this thing seriously. Overall, what leads to coup are 3 major reasons. One is issue of legitimacy. The other is good governance. And the third one is the possibility of the coup happening at all. I think anybody who's in power today, those who are friends of democracy, should ensure that those 3 things are enshrined and are practiced in their country. And if it is not, the desire for coup will be there, and if it is possible, coup will happen. Legitimacy of government does not only mean the government must be popular, it must also mean that there must be a viable opposition that has its say while majority has its way in a legitimate, transparent way. That is the essence of democracy.
Okay, Yemi.
I mean, really just support what Professor Kila said. And I think the brazenness that it just keeps coming, and it's providing, it's being, like, let's not try to fix democracy, because obviously the point is that democracy is not working. So let's not try to fix it, let's not try to find a way to make it work for us and deliver. Let's just find something completely different. And this now seems quite sexy in a certain context, especially with the propaganda that's being created by, is it the Burkinabe one? Or
Yes,
the Niger one?
Burkina Faso, man.
Yeah.
The African way.
So the propaganda that's being created around his leadership in Burkina Faso, the videos, the way he supposedly walks around and deals with the people, the reality on ground is completely different. But that is providing a sexy alternative to what democracy offers. And if we are not intentional about showing why democracy and the ability to have a voice in governance is the way to go, we will certainly see more coups on the continent.
Mr. Ologun.
Thank you very much. When that of Niger happened, my comment really was that the ECOWAS and AU should be more interested in setting machinery in place to ensure good governance. It's very important because you can see how it's spreading. And in the case of Burkina Faso, it's as if some are now celebrating the comparison between this undesirable military intervention and democracy. Democracy remains government of the people, by the people, and for the people, so that we don't become reactive. I mean, before our 65th independence anniversary in Nigeria, there was also a narrative of a rumor. So I think that is not what we need in Africa right now. But I've also challenged Africa that holds about 40% of the resources of the world, that what have we done in enhancing the fortunes of the continent? Otherwise, it's something that is spreading like wildfire now. And again, ECOWAS and AU, they've not designed an effective check for it, even when reacting, because those juntas that have stepped in. And I understand that of Guinea-Bissau was more of a camouflage coup when the president was coasting towards defeat. Then the military came in. Whatever the case may be, Africa deserves good governance. And I think that message should be very clear, not just on the wall, but in the sky for all to see.
Professor Uro.
Yeah, so the list that Professor Kila gave, I would like to add one other item, and that is over-ambition by military people. Sometimes they just come, there is no good reason for it. Most times, it is some problem of bad governance and all. Sometimes they just wake up one morning and they want to also be in power. And that ought most to be deprecated. I always draw attention to the fact that we have had, thousands of coups, with a few of them not being successful, and military people governing for a long time across Africa. Apart from Burkina Faso's Thomas Sankara, Nigeria, Murtala Mohammed and Obasanjo, 75 to 79, and Rawlings, Ghana. You can hardly remember any other experience of good governance among these military people. So the narrative that, the military people have the solution is not confirmed by facts. So, and I also agree with Professor Ologun, the AU and the ECOWAS and other regional bodies being more decisive and committed to focusing on good governance, not just rhetoric, so that the tendency that we have coup will be reduced to the barest minimum is just what's the way to go. But what is happening in Benin Republic, we condemn vehemently.
Well, the coup plotters, they give their reasons. They say poor management of the country,
Standards.
neglect of the military,
Standards.
and then deteriorating security situation in the northern part of the Republic of Benin.
No, and just to add to that,
You are
to your
still
point,
not convinced.
No, I'm just.
It doesn't make sense.
No. I'm even just saying. Exactly what I'm even saying.
What
that,
everybody
hold
else
on.
says.
Sorry,
That's what
gentlemen, hold on. The three things you just gave as their reason, do they not apply? No, do they not apply here? And that's the reality of this thing. And we're talking about AU paying more attention, ECOWAS. We've abdicated our leadership of, well, our tenure is gone. But when they had the opportunity to kind of hold the fort, we didn't. 3 of us are now under military rule. Take the continent wide. Ultimately, if the leaders of the continent don't do the templates that both of you have suggested, citizens have to say that this is what we want. Yeah. Now, if citizens are getting enamored by this idea of military rule because of these things that you talk about, it makes the work of the AU even more necessary if they don't get to it.
Okay, let's take one more topic before we wrap it all up. United States President Donald Trump has been awarded FIFA's newly created Peace Prize at the draw for the 2026 Men's Football World Cup. Trump, who has campaigned aggressively for a Nobel Peace Prize, thanked FIFA on Friday and called the award one of the great honors of my life. The U.S. leader had been heavily favored to win the football governing body's inaugural prize. The American leader and FIFA president Gianni Infantino are close allies, and Infantino had made it clear that he thought Trump should have won the Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts to broker a ceasefire in Israel's war on Gaza. The U.S., along with Canada and Mexico, will host the football tournament next year. The Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, and the President of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, were also at the ceremony. Well, I know you are a football fan, Professor Awurawo. Finally, Trump got something close to...
Not close at all.
I congratulate him. At least he has some prize for peace. Whether it's Nobel or whatever, well, he has some prize for peace. Well, I congratulate him. I also congratulate the FIFA body for getting thus far in preparation for the tournament. Now that Trump has got this prize, we hope that those he doesn't like, that he says he will not align to the US for the World Cup, we hope this prize will compel him to do so. Those who win peace prizes they are not exclusive, they are always inclusive. So we hope we will allow those ones. But I congratulate Trump, I also congratulate the FIFA body, hoping that to have a fantastic tournament come summer of next year.
President, we're trying to bribe Trump. Go ahead.
Donald Trump is a resilient personality, and eventually he has gotten a peace prize. So I congratulate him, and of course, we hope that his passion in seeing that killings are stopped, unnecessary killings around the world, that he doesn't relent on that also, because I'm interested in peace around the world. So whether he's brash about it or otherwise, is something that must be of good concern to all.
Okay, Okpeyemi, I know you are not a fan of Donald Trump, but please at least congratulate him.
No, I won't. So the award says football unites the world. And it says, and I was reading it says, bestowed on behalf of all football-loving people from all around the world. Yeah. America is not a football-playing country, number one. Number two, the cheapening of the concept of a peace prize. It'll be interesting to see anyway. First, he's the inaugural winner. Let's see how the award evolves over the next few years.
Professor Kila, in less than a second.
I'm a big fan of Trump, and I recognize him to be a chosen one, a man that is petty, indulged by others, tantrum-driven human being who gets what he wants. Is a phenomenon that is worth studying. To Infantino, I say we're watching you.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Kila. Thank you, Okpeyemi Adamolekun. We look forward to seeing you next Sunday, by the way, Mr. Ologun.
I'll be
and
there.
Professor David Awurawo. Well, you've been watching This Day Live, the Sunday talk show, here on Arise News. I am Ruben Abati. For my entire team here in Lagos, it's bye for now, and thank you very much for watching.